I cannot do podiums. It feels very odd to me, so I'm going to do more of a microphone situation. Okay, let's see. So this is a clicker. Oh, boy. Is that working? Here we go. Awesome. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the talk and coming to the conference. Are any of you familiar with Collabland? Yeah. Awesome. That's awesome. Well, if you're in a Telegram or Discord NFT community, social token community like FWB or Bankless, if you're in an investment community, if you're in a DAO, you've probably verified through Collabland. I won't necessarily be talking about the technical way that verification works, but more about like, where do we start, how do we get here, and where are we going with Collabland, and where are we going with crypto communities in general. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is then, when we started Collabland. Collabland was created by Abridged, which is a corporation started by myself and my husband, and we have a third partner, Raymond Fang. He's our CTO. We started as no-code tooling. This was in 2018, so there weren't users in crypto, and there weren't very many builders in crypto. And so what we did is we built this no-code tooling to say to developers, hey, come on, check it out. You're not going to have to learn everything. You can use our no-code tooling to build your own apps, and maybe if we build these apps, then people will come, and we can have a real situation going on here, where we have users and we have builders. However, this was the bear market, the beginning of the bear market, and so there weren't any developers that wanted to come, and that's because there weren't any users. And so we were in that holding pattern for a couple of years, just waiting for people to join, waiting for people, trying to woo developers to come and use our no-code tooling for crypto apps. In the spring of 2020, this is when, almost 2 years, a year and a half into the bear market, COVID was crippling everything, shutting everything down. Spring of 2020, I don't know if you remember, it was the beginning of the lockdown. We started our own DAO called the Collab19 DAO. And the Collab19 DAO was to gather funds and redistribute funds to people who were suffering from crypto-related emergencies, job loss, injury, hospitalization. And so we built our own DAO. We had our own DAO for that. And the first thing that we discovered is, how do we get people in our DAO in a group together so we know who these people are? Who are these members of our DAO? How do we get them talking to each other so we can say, what's your proposal? Who do you want to help? Why do you want to help this person? And have a conversation about the proposals. Prior to that, it was voting, on-chain voting, where you didn't know who 0x5913 was compared to 0x5541. So this was a tool, Collabland, we built it with our own no-code tooling to say, this is a need for us, our DAO has this need, and also a reference implementation so we can say, hey, developers, look at Collabland. We built this app based on our no-code tooling, so now you can build apps too. This is an example for you. Well, what happened at that point is that what we didn't know what was going to happen, which is it sparked imagination and it filled a need. This was a time where relationships from outside of the world, outside of online, were crumbling. People weren't able to see each other anymore. Relationships with your coworkers were changing because offices were shutting down. And so Collabland came right at that time. And what we saw then was the beginning, the spark of this idea of a crypto community. And what is it to be a crypto community? How is it that having the same financial asset can now bring you together with these people where you're sharing more than just finances? So that was then. Where are we right now? Well, since spring of 2020, now we're up to 41,000 crypto communities. The idea of a crypto community was completely unknown, unheard of, inconceivable 2 years ago. And now we're sitting on 41,000 of them. And really, that's not even all of them. we have plenty of them, but they're popping up all over the place now. The idea of a crypto community, the idea of using the word community when it comes to crypto is something that was unheard of and now is so natural for all of us. We think of them as one and the same. Part of being a participant in crypto is being a part of a community. We have 4.1 million wallets verified, and now what's going on? What's happening in these communities, right? So you join, you buy an asset, it's a transactional relationship, you've paid money to be in this community, and now what? Well, what we're seeing there is this is a whole new type of relationship that's starting. It's a relationship that's starting with a transaction, but quickly moves into trust. And why is that? Why is it that we're finding trust with people who just share the same financial asset as us? You know, that's something that I think about a lot. It's definitely something that we're not raised to believe. Money is something that's bad, it's something that's for greedy people. It's not what relationships are. Our friend relationships, maybe people we meet in school, our family relationships, the people that families that we're born into or adopted into. That's what we think of as what relationships, trust relationships will be. But now we're moving into this new world where transactional relationships, your financial asset, how you behave online is bringing people together in a whole new way. One of the most exciting things, and this happened early on, when we moved from DAO. First, we had DAO adoption because, like I said, Collab 19 was a DAO. And at that time in spring of 2020, there was a lot of cross-pollinations in DAOs. Now there's so many different DAOs, and it's amazing to see and wonderful to see the explosion of DAOs. But at that time, it was a lot of the same people in a lot of the same DAOs. And so the way we got adoption into Collabland being a DAO tool is because those same members of our DAO also were members of all the other DAOs. So it started with DAOs using Collabland, and then we moved into investment groups. So now we had the ICO stage of 2017. There were a lot of different tokens. A lot of the communities that survived out of that started using Collabland for deal flow, where they could now, if you have a certain number of tokens, investment tokens, then you can join into these conversations and talk about new projects that are coming out and share them with people who also share your same financial assets. And so you know the value of that community, the value of that group grows by the quality of the information that's shared. And that's sort of one of the ways we saw, like, you no longer have that troll factor that you have in like Web 2. Anybody that's in a Collabland community is someone that owns that same financial asset. That idea of someone coming in to just troll the community, to share information that might not be legitimate, the incentive has gone down now, because now you're in a group, a trusted group with people who you share the same financial assets in. And so what else happened in these communities? You know, I think a lot about why communities? Like, why are we in communities? What is it about society or human nature that compels us to be in a community? And so I've thought a lot about this over the last couple years. And the two that I've come up with is, one, safety. Now the internet has its own money. Like, this is the first time that we now have our own money. And so with that new money comes a new world that we're building. And what is it that people need when they join a new world? It's safety. And just like the beginning of time, where human societies first started, it was the communities and groups that stayed together that were able to flourish and thrive and remain intact. And in that same way, with our world building that we're doing right now with crypto, communities give us that, give us safety. People are sharing information with each other. You know, don't follow that project, or do follow that project, or that project is a rug pull, or don't click on that link, right? Or don't share your seed phrase, something that we say all the time at Collabland, and don't share your seed phrase. Again. And don't send me your seed phrase. I also run support at Collabland. I cannot tell you how many times people send me their seed phrase, and I have to say, hey, burn your wallet, send it, don't give it to anybody else, no more. So it's like, that's the type of thing I'm saying. But again, I guess I'm part of the community as well, telling them not to share their seed phrase. But that's the sort of thing that's happening in these communities. And also, when you have this relationship where you have the same financial asset, am I almost done? Oh my gosh, I have another slide. Oh gosh. Okay, well there's so much left to tell you. Please find me outside. I want to tell you all about Collabland. We're moving into a whole new decentralized phase where every single member will own their own data. We're not going to be Facebook again. We're going to give you a portable reputation that you're going to be able to take with you and build your own crypto reputation so that you can move forward with your whole self and your whole autonomy, online autonomy. Anyway, thank you so much. Find me outside.